play a role in these extreme weather events. Now back to the fraud in the state of Minnesota, which is always an amusing topic. We have this tweet from House member Tina Liebling, who, given her background, shouldn't be this stupid. Democrats continue to oppose any effort to staff fraud. In the latest is Tina Liebling, District 23, Rochester. She said there is no fraud in Minnesota, and she said, I don't know why this is stuck here. Just a minute. She said, God dang it! Oh. I wonder. You know what? I'm reading a text that picked up me. It's recording my voice.
You're recording yourself.
I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do this.
Is that idea for that business of mine? Did I do this idea on the air or off the air?
Off.
Anybody over the age of 60, when you buy a new iPhone, it automatically comes with your very own personal assistant to help you with all things technical. They're there for you 24 hours a day.
Well, here's her exact tweet. We just don't really hear in Minnesota of any corruption within government.
We don't know that.
And again, given her background, she should not be that obtuse. She's an attorney. She's married. She has 3 kids. She was born and raised in Minneapolis.
Joe, that has to be taken out of context. You can't be that stupid.
That's what I'm saying.
Where's the rest of the quote?
There isn't any that I am being made.
Hold on, I'm going to listen to this. I've got 60 seconds here.
She is the daughter of noted photographer Jerome Liebling. I wish I know of A.J. Liebling, the great writer. I don't know of the photographer Jerome Liebling. Does anyone? Staff?
No,
anyone?
No.
And then her family moved away from the area, and she returned to attend the University of Minnesota. In any event, Tina Liebling, you can't be this moronic. What are you? Don't read the news every day? Goodness gracious! And Tina, it's your governor precisely who leads to reasonable speculation that the government absolutely is involved in the fraud, because he holds no one accountable, nor is he ever outraged. What he passes off as outrage is a convenient, he occasionally adopts a convenient affectation that he's troubled by it.
Shocked, wasn't shocked
or bothered by it, but he has never really done anything to suggest that he's not involved, to tell you the truth. And I know I keep saying that, nobody pays attention. I mean, when the dear leader shows up at a Gaffigan comedy concert, the dear leader gets a big hand. So maybe we have to start, you know what we should start doing? Trying to love Walz. Maybe we should just love him.
Do I give you a 2-week notice, or can I just quit right now?
No, you have.
I have more information, and Reavers, you can look this up. We can get this audio on the air. Go to Twitter. I know you're not allowed, but look up on Twitter, Minnesota House GOP War Room. There's a 60-second cut, and Joe, she is referring to politicians.
Yeah, and I'm willing to indict them now.
But when she said we don't have history or blah, 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 she is referring specifically to politicians.
And she would be correct because, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Not that it could never happen, of course, that we could have fraud within government, but that has not characterized Minnesota. I mean, we have, some other states you look at, there have been governors who've gone to prison, for example, after their terms. That has never happened in Minnesota. We just don't really hear in Minnesota of any corruption within government. We have really good public servants here who try very hard to do their jobs the right way. And I've never really heard anybody dispute that, but it seems like this bill is more focused on inside the agencies. And could you just explain how this bill is attempting to prevent fraud? And please explain why that has to happen from within the legislature and not within the executive branch, because I think there are different ways we could be looking at this.
Well, I'd like to take a shot at answering her. Perhaps Walz will be arrested when he's done with serving. But why, Tina, does it have to come within the agencies? Because that's where the fraud foments. That's where it is. That's where it begins. That's where the money is distributed. And the agencies have shown no capability of plugging those leaks in their dikes. They've never been able to stop the leak of money. It comes from the agencies, Tina. As again, given your background, how can you possibly be that stupid to not know that? Where do you think the fraud is coming from?
I would have loved to hear the rest of that and the explanation. That's a really interesting conversation.
And the Democrats continue to oppose any of these bills that would bring about reform in the agencies.
Right.
Tina, the Department of Education testified before the Fraud Committee and pleaded the fifth. They pleaded the fifth because the fraudulent behavior is within their ranks. It's under their purview. It didn't come from outside. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's coming from within the agencies. Now,
Well, 'cause that's, I mean, Kenny, I know that it's a different, when you introduced the audio, and I'm glad you did, it does give a better lens, but even what she said isn't true. You know
Oh,
what I'm
no,
saying?
what Joe had a
Yeah.
great point there, but I thought it was worth clarifying.
100%, yeah.
well, here's something that is a great site. It's the Minnesota House GOP War Room. And you get their daily intramural musings about what the hell's going on. It's a worthy site. And I noticed on that site today that there are Republican lawmakers who want to craft a bill to prevent Minnesota from giving money to nonprofits. I couldn't be more happy with that type of bill. That's exactly what needs to happen because that's where the fraud is. The fraud is in the agencies giving money to nonprofits who themselves have proven to be fraudulent. And the fraudulent part on the part of the agencies is they've done no vetting. So your hard-earned tax dollars are distributed incompetently by the Minnesota agencies to groups of people who have proven to use it fraudulently. And then the Democrats would oppose this bill, of course, but that would prevent them
So
that would prevent them from their racketeering.
So buying an island in another country,
Right.
That's against what you're saying.
Right. They take the money to buy an island in another country, and we don't want to. The move comes as Republicans highlight the fraud schemes that have plagued Minnesota state government. The nascent House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Policy Committee is discussing ways state agencies are failing to adequately oversee grants for nonprofits. Stop giving. The government is impossibly big. You're giving away enough money. You don't need to continue to give away our money to nonprofits who are stealing it almost uniformly. Whether it's daycare, autism treatment, food, whatever. Yes, John?
You mean take money away from all nonprofits? Is that what you're saying?
No, don't give money to nonprofits.
Any nonprofits?
Well,
I'm not going to agree with you on that.
yeah,
Sorry.
of course you wouldn't, but and you're
Well,
right. You're
I mean,
right. There are
for the record, I don't
nonprofits. There
either.
are credible nonprofits.
Right, there are, absolutely.
Is that what you're waiting for me to say?
That's what we both
Of
want.
course, there are
I may
credible
have family
nonprofits.
members that work for one that,
Yes.
that gets money from the government.
There are
so.
credible nonprofits, but
Yeah.
You want a more thorough vetting
the
process.
brunt
Yes,
of
there
the
you go.
money has
Perfect.
gone to non-credible nonprofits.
Yeah, and I'm outraged by the lack of their outrage.
The Democrats have no outrage.
How can you be accused of something like this and not want to fight and clear your name and fix this so it never happens again?
Because you're guilty. Guilty.
That's the perception, Chris.